Hello, my name is Tanya, and I would like to share my story of my testimony of church hurt and the faith it took to get through it. First of all, I just like to give God the honor for just keeping me throughout the time that I went through, the hurt that I went through, at my church. You know, um, it's taken so long for me to come out, and I've shared my testimony with a few people, like with women that I felt the need to share my testimony with, um, and just different people, in general. It's not a selected audience that this can't help, it's not just for women, it's not just for men, it's just, a testimony of faith, and hurt, that it took God to, get me through it, So, I mean, it's been 6 years since this occurred back in 2014. Um, so if I'll just start there, and I have other things that I like to share, other testimonies that the Lord has, allowed me to come through in dreams and things of that nature. God has truly been a blessing in my life, and I just would like to share it with people, because I know that it's a lot of people that's out here that has been through hurt and has suffered from church hurt and didn't know how to overcome it. They ended up leaving the church, and a lot of times that's not always the answer, but if you feel that you can't contain, or if you feel that you can't, you know, um, deal with the struggle or the pain of that, that hurt, hey, I suggest that you pray and ask God on how to get through it. But I'm just going to start by saying, thank you, first of all, for taking a listen to my testimony, and just, just want to know my story. So I just, first of all, thank you for that. Excuse me. But uh, so back in 2014, um, I was going to church. I had just gotten back in church from backsliding. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm not claiming to be all around, Christian that don't make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I've made my mistakes, and I own the mistakes that I made. I have to put that disclaimer out there because, I've done some things in my life, as we all have. There's no one in this world that has not, falling short of God's glory, or even while we were living for God. So let me just first put that out there. I've had my I've had my share of, I've had my share of past things that I've done, but I will say this, that God is not the author of confusion, and that God is a just God, and he's a loving God, you know, and he's also a God that will chastise us, in our wrongdoing. So I just wanted to put that out there because I don't want it to seem like I just was this perfect person. No, not that at all. I've had my share of ups and downs. I've did wrong, and I just have to, I've done things, just as a person, um, going off of feelings and things of that nature, so, just let me say that first. Secondly, um, it was back in 2014. Like I said, I just came back to church after backsliding, in 2010, for reasons that I felt was valid. I That's a whole nother story, and I'll get to that, that part. But this is my overcoming of church hurt that I had encountered back in 2014. This is where I want to start uh, with my introduction of myself and what has pressed me to come out and talk about it. Um, again, back in 2014, you know, my church is like a family church. It's a small church, and we were gonna have a um, we always celebrate the pastor for his birthday and things of that nature. And it was a brother that was there. He never came to any of the functions or anything. I mean, once he came back to church from, I guess he was out, but I didn't know him because I had backslid or whatever the case may be. And but I came back to church in 2010, and he had just came back, maybe about a year before this, maybe a year or so before this had transpired. And we would have functions, but he wouldn't come to the function. So I just invited the brother to come to a function, because if everybody that know me know that I'm a very friendly person, they know that I'm friendly to the sisters as well as the brothers. It's no gray area with me. I love everybody, and everybody know that. I'm known for genuineness, my genuineness. I'm known for that. I'm known for the love that I display to people, both men and women. I just love people. That's the way I was raised. And I'll get into that too. But this is where I want to start at, because this is what has prompted me to come out and talk about my story. And, God has something for me to do. So this is where it all started as far as what caused me to get on YouTube today. Okay. So, I'd invited the brother out to the gathering, and things of that nature. And I have to say this, that there was a sister that just started coming to the church. She was new. And this sister, I'm on praise and worship team. I'm up there singing, you know, and this sister just, she just lit up like, and y'all, I'm like a gravitational person. People gravitate to me because of my energy, because of the love that comes from me. People gravitate to me. So this sister was out there, and this was before, I had asked the brother to come to the gathering or whatever. And the sister was out there. She had just started coming there, and I think I came from a business trip with work. And the sister was out there. I had never seen her before. She was new to the church, and while I'm up there singing, she was just our eyes just locked on each other. It was like she had a glow on her. For me, nobody else in the church had a glow. Mind you, this is a small church, maybe 50 members to the most. But my eyes locked on the sister, and she was just smiling at me. She had this big smile, while I'm up there singing, and I was smiling at her, and because that's what I do. I sing when I'm up there singing. I just, I'm inviting to the people like to come and worship with us, because we up here praising, worshiping for you guys, to join in. So I'm engaging with the people, and but my eyes locked on this sister for some reason, and I didn't know why. So after praise and worship was over, and then like after we got ready for the word and everything like that, the sister came up to me, and she was like, "You did a great job," and she was like, "Man, you just talking to me, we hugged it out, whatever." And I asked, I said, "You knew? I ain't never seen you here." She was like, "Yeah, I just came, like, I think you wasn't here, when I started coming. I heard pastor on the radio, and things of that nature." And we just connected just like that from there, and so we connected from there. At the time I was dating a guy. We were engaged 2 years. We were engaged for 2 years, but we had been together for eight years. And so with that being said, once we got engaged, I had been with the guy for 8 years, and I just he was a friend of mine. He was a friend, a longtime friend, and I stayed in that relationship even though I was unhappy because I thought that he would be a good fit for me, and I had children from previous marriages, whatever the case may be. And he was a good guy, but we just didn't connect, and I stayed in that relationship because of my kids. But that's another story. Like I said, y'all, my life is just it has so many ups and downs and twists and turns, and it's by the God's grace that I'm still here and not insane, and I don't look like what I've been through. So I have to put that out there, y'all, because I got so much to share, But I'm just sharing this right now, this portion of my life, because this is where it all started, So for me to come out and share with you guys. But again, me and this guy that I was with for 8 years, we wasn't together anymore. I had really gave my life back to God. Like in 2010, I really started, doing soul searching and stuff like that, And when I came back to God, it was just, everything was just going for me, in God, living for God. But in 2014, this is when I met the sister and that brother that he was going there, whatever the case may be. By this time, y'all, the guy that I was dealing with for 8 years, I had them totally cut. I had started praying, asking God to deliver me from the situation because this guy did everything for me. I didn't have to pay no bills. I think I gave like $1,000 to our cause. We had a 2-story house, and none of my kids was his. He didn't have any kids. And again, he was good to me and my kids. So that was part of the reason why I stayed in that relationship, even though the relationship was toxic. But I started praying and doing soul searching, asking God, you know, what is this who he wanted me to be with? And so in that time we had a meeting with pastor, and the pastor told me that the relationship that I was in with this guy was just a business arrangement because the house that I was in was his house, you know, and I was giving him $1,000 a month, but it was our cause, our living was way much more than that. So, he said that it was a business arrangement because my dude at the time, he was living, he was working in another city, far away from us, like 4 hours away, so he had an apartment out there. I was just at this house, me and my kids. He would come on the weekends, but he never would go to church with us, so that led me to start praying and asking God for help on how to vacate myself from the situation, how to get away from it, and in 2014, that's when God has started really answering my questions and answering me and let me know that he'll be with me, if I go ahead. He told me that I can leave. And this sister that I met, mind you, I'm engaged to this guy, but having second thoughts because all the time that I was with you before, you was just this tyrant of a person. And again, you was a good person, but you was also a tyrant because he was a military kid. So I mean, he just, I don't know, it just didn't mesh with me very well. But because we were friends, first I didn't want to destroy our friendship, so I stayed in it to see if it would ever change. But it didn't. But we started to go I started to go to church. When he would come home on the weekends, he wouldn't go to church with us. He would go golfing, you know. And so he was disconnected from the relationship, so that further gave me the reason to pray and ask God for deliverance from the situation because I was a woman that always had her own, you know what I'm saying? I always had my own house, all my own car, just everything. I always had my own. And when I moved in with him, it's kind of like he took control of everything. And I was like, I didn't have to pay no bills. Like I just gave him $1,000 a month, and all the bills got paid, food, all of that, phone bill, car, car note. Now I did have to pay my own car note and all of that. But anyway, the sister that I had came in contact with, we had got close really quick. Like really quick, we got close. And she had came out to the house, and the sister is very spiritual. She and I are like close right now to this day. And she came over to the house one day. I was having a gathering for my sons. It was at Chuck E. Cheese. We were doing something for my twin boys, at Chuck E. Cheese, and she had came over, and when she came over, my friend was there. Well, I'm not gonna call him my friend. He was my boyfriend at the time, my fiance. He was there, and immediately when she first met the guy, we went to Chuck E. Cheese, and she told me that that's not your husband. So I was like, mind you, I'm already having second thoughts about the guy. I'm already, in my heart not really wanting to be with him because I just didn't like the way he treated me, like I was a non-factor in his life. And no one woman wants to be treated like a non-factor. You want to feel loved, you want to feel wanted, and things of that nature. But that's what I went through throughout the whole time, because he had money, and my $1,000 was just chump change for him. But again, I mean, I just felt like a non-factor in his life. It was times when, he would get mad at me, and, when he didn't want to be intimate, he would watch porn. Like if he wanted to teach me a lesson, he would watch porn, and, and stuff like that. And when I say, why are you doing this? He would be like, don't get mad at me because I'm insufficient. I mean, because I'm self-sufficient, and that's what he would tell me. He had porno flicks and all this kind of stuff, just all over the house. But that was his life. That was his life before me and my children moved in. But when I saw all of that, I told him that we weren't gonna be able to stay there unless he, deal with that. But I mean, that's a whole nother story. Like I said, y'all, my life, I'm telling you, I don't look like what I've been through. And I thank God for that. But back to what got me here today. That sister was like, that's not your husband. And so I was like, I was like, okay, that makes sense, because I told her what I had been praying and asking God for. And I was praying, asking God to give me the strength to leave and walk away. And because I was tired of going through it, I was tired of it. And the Lord gave me the strength, eventually. I finally decided to do it, eventually. But she and I got really close. Then the day of the function came at for the dinner for the pastor. And the brother that was that I said, I'm sorry y'all, my light keep going off. I apologize. But I had asked him to come to the this was a little bit after, me and this guy just decided to, just before I decided to just stop. I called off the engagement. I gave the guy his ring back, but he told me I didn't have to leave the house, or whatever. So I was still living at the house, but we hadn't been intimate for like 8 months. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I know y'all, with me being living for God, I wasn't supposed to be being intimate with someone, and we weren't married. So, like I said, I'm not perfect, but I was in a relationship with this person. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not perfect, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat my life and try to make it seem like I was perfect or anything like that. But again, I was having second thoughts. My kids had told me, that they wanted me to be finally happy. So, they was like, do whatever is best for you, mom, because I had older kids, that like were in high school, and, I had stayed in that relationship. I stayed in the relationship, for them, But back to the story. The brother came to the dinner, and I ended up being late. Me and the sister got there together. The sister that I had just met, the one that the light was shining on. Y'all, I'm sorry. This light is not working for me. Give me one moment. All right, that's better. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm in my bathroom, y'all, because until I find a different place to, do this, this is my safe haven. But we ended up being late coming to the place. And when I got there, the brother was like, you asked me to come and you late, or whatever the case may be. And I was like, I know, brother, and I know, we were running late, whatever the case may be, but we here now, whatever. And so everybody was already seated pretty much, and he had sat down. My sister, she sat across from me. He ended up sitting right next to me. And when that brother sat down, though, y'all, it was like I went into an open vision, right? And I saw he and I on the side of a bed praying, like we was like praying together on the side of the bed in this vision. Mind you, I'm wide awake, and this just came to me. I just saw this, and immediately it freaked me out because I had never, saw anything like that. And I'm like, we were on the side of a bed, and I'm like, what is that, So I just thought, that maybe that meant something, for us. So it freaked me out. I got up from there. I was like, excuse me, I got up from there, and I was asking people would they switch seats with me, like so they could sit next to him and I could see where they were sitting or whatever, because that kind of spooked me because I had never seen nothing like that. And mind you, y'all, I never looked at this guy in a way of anything like that. We on the side of a bed now, so all that could mean to me is that somehow we got together and, whatever the case may be. That's what it seemed like to me. The Lord worked that out or whatever. But anyway, so nobody would switch seats with me. My sister, the sister that I just met, was sitting across from me, and this brother was sitting next to me. And we ended up having a really good time. He was very funny, we were laughing, we were joking, and the place that we went out to eat it served like fish and stuff like that, and just different types of food, and we just had a buffet going at our tables, and he didn't eat fish, and he was making jokes about that, and I was laughing, and at the time, we were vibing so well, and everything. So that vision that I had saw, it made me think that, dang, maybe this is the guy that God got for me, because the guy that I was engaged to prior was not the one. He wouldn't come to church, he wouldn't, do anything, So, and then I had this vision, I saw this, this quick vision of me and this brother on the side of a bed praying. So I thought that, that's what that meant, for me, and because I had been praying and asking God for my true mate or whatever the case may be. I had been praying, asking God to help me to get out of what I was in because it was toxic, whatever the case may be. And mind you, I had been celibate for 8 months, you know what I'm saying, before I met this brother, or whatever the case may. Well, not before I met him, but before, of course, we ended up dealing with each other on a level, But anyway, how that ended up happening is after we left there, I told a sister about the vision that I had, and she was like, wow, really like that? And I was like, but what's funny, sis? I ain't never thought of this brother like that. He been coming to church. He's very quiet. I've seen him bring a few people to church with him, Sometimes they didn't sit together. Sometimes they did, But I was like, I never looked at this brother like nothing like that, And this is what I was telling the sister. And so I had another business trip to go on that was that I already paid for or whatever to go. And so I had asked her to find out if he was single, because I had been seeing him, bringing inviting women or whatever the case may be to the church. So I just asked him, to say inquiring minds want to know, are you dating anyone? I just wanted to see if it was a chance, if what I was seeing, if it was really what that it could be, that. And she found out for me while I was on my business trip. So I was anxious to know, when I got back, because I mean, what woman don't want a man of God, somebody that's, living for God or whatever the case may be, whole, or, you can grow together or whatever the case may be. But anyway, when I got back, I found out that he was indeed single. And now what I shouldn't have done, guys, is went to him to let him know who wanted to know. Cause I told her to say inquiring minds want to know. So when I went up to him, I said, inquiring mind, I said, I'm that inquiring mind. And then he was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. And he said, oh, the pastor sister, because it's a family church and my brother is my pastor, and it's a lot that, goes with that as well. But anyway, and my pastor's wife is, um, she was a close friend of the family as well. Me and her, she and I went to high school together, So I mean, like I say, when I say it's a family church, my brother was married. My deceased brother was married to her sister, so it's it's a pretty family oriented church, you know. And so after that happened, I went back to the church. We went when I came back to the church, and I told him inquiring minds want to know. I mean, I told him I was the inquiring mind, and he was like so stunned to see that it was the sister of the pastor or whatever the case may be. And he was like, I was like, maybe we can just go out, and just see where things go, or whatever the case may be. Now that's what I should not have done. Now I don't think it was wrong for me to let him know that I was the inquiring mind, but because I do want to know, I did want to know whether or not what I seen was from God, and uh we ended up exchanging numbers, right? But I never did call him. He ended up calling me like maybe a week later, and I guess he was waiting for me to call, but I didn't want to move like that. So I wanted to give him the opportunity, if he was interested in me, I wanted to give him the opportunity to reach out to me, just to reach out or whatever to me, instead of me reaching out, because I had already let it be known that I was the inquiring mind. And so then when he reached out to me, I was at a brother and a sister's house cooking for them, because that's what I do. That was, me and we were just hanging out. We always did. And when I got that call, I was so ecstatic. I was happy because I was thinking that it's a possibility that I can have that what I seen, with this brother in that vision or whatever. So I went outside and I talked to him, and we got to talking. He was like, yeah, I've been praying, asking God for a wife, and we talked, and I told him about my previous relationship or whatever. I let him know that I was still living at that house, but we were not together, or whatever the case may be. I was just trying to give him the rundown, on what I had been dealing with or whatever the case may be. I let him know that I was engaged. I had been engaged for 2 years, and I had been with the guy. I just gave him the whole rundown or whatever about my life, and what I went through with the guy previous, or whatever. But he ended up not he ended up being okay with my situation. So we went on our date. We went to a steakhouse, and we had a good time at the steakhouse, or whatever. It was just like when we was at the other gathering, and it was just me and him this time, and we were just talking, and it went from there. We got to talking. We started working out together, you know what I'm saying? Because I needed to tone up, and he would work out, like, lifting weights and just keeping his body in shape or whatever the case may be. And he helped me get my body toned up and things of that nature. And then after we would work out, we always went and had something to eat. We would always go and eat or whatever. So we had got really, really close, he and I. We had started getting close and things of that nature. But I started feeling like that brother, like, was dealing with other women. I started feeling like he had, because it was other women. I knew he was dealing with other women because it was those women that he was inviting to the church or whatever. But you know, when we went there together, which we shouldn't have, and I own that, that I shouldn't have been intimate with the brother, you know, and I ended up being intimate with him, on a level. I had went to his house one day just trying to see where he stayed at, what part of town, and I went over there, and not to go over there to be intimate with him or nothing like that, and we wasn't intimate that day, but once I knew where he lived at, that was the invitation to, come by, whatever the case may be, you know. So he would be like, "You want to come over?" And I would be like, "Yeah, sure," And it didn't happen the first time, it didn't happen the second time, but after the first time I went, the first time I went over there, he went inside and took a shower. He told me, he said, "Just you can stay in the living room. I'm gonna just take a shower. This is what I do usually, and I'll be back out here, whatever." But the brother went in there and took a shower, and he claimed he forgot that I was there, and he walked out, and he, was exposed, and me being a woman, and him being a man, he like, "Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I forgot you," And I'm like, "What?" So this brother, he did that. So, that didn't stop me and him from, seeing each other or whatever the case may be. But I had that visual in my mind. So as a woman, I mean, I should have ran like crazy is what I should have done, but I didn't do that because I had that vision, and it was just like, yeah, he did that, but I'm still hoping that what I seen was what that is, Call me crazy, whatever, y'all. But this is my story, and I'm sticking by my story, and I'm not ashamed. Yeah, it was shameful. It's a shameful situation, but I'm not ashamed to share it because I learned from it. you know so after that happened, I had the visual. So now, me being who I was, or whatever, who I was, because I'm no longer that person. It was like I always, every time I see him, I saw that, so it was just like, man. So anyway, one thing led to another. We ended up being intimate with each other, and we would do it every so often, not all the time, but we would be intimate with one another, and but I started feeling like he was being like intimate with other people as well. I started feeling that feeling, so I started asking him, because we wasn't exclusive. We never put a label on what we were, but we were dealing with one another. We talked on the phone all the time. We went out to eat. We worked out together. We did a lot of things together. And my friend, the young lady that asked him for me and all of that, she ended up telling me that, "Sis, if you gonna keep dealing with this brother on a level, I'm gonna have to stop. I'm not gonna be able to be your sister, like on a level. I'm gonna have to excommunicate myself from you, because I can't, condone that." And I totally understood that, but I went to pastor about it, told him that I was interested in the brother. This was before we were intimate though. And he didn't see a problem with it. But then when I told his wife had a problem. She didn't say nothing to me, but she just didn't say nothing at all. And I was talking to her on the phone. Mind you, this is my sister-in-law, you know. And again, we have history, because I had backslid, And again, I'll tell that story at a later time. But this is about the church hurt that I encountered, that got me where I am right now. So she didn't say anything, or whatever. And then she I guess she went to pastor and went to her husband and told him some things. Pastor thought it was cute at first, and then once she got wind of it and got in his ear, you know, it changed on me. My mom was going to the church and everything. He came to me and told me I needed to stop seeing that brother, or whatever the case may be. And I was like, why, And by this time we were being intimate, or whatever. And well, God got someone else for him. It's someone else God has in store for him, because that's what his wife told him, you know. And the person that they had in the person that they had for him, that they said was supposed to be his wife or whatever, was another sister in the church, and she had interest in the brother, you know, that I didn't know she had interest in the brother. You know what I'm saying? This was all something she told the pastor's wife of the church. She had told him, because it was asked of her, who did she, find, whatever. I don't know how it all went because I wasn't there, but I just know that she ended up saying that she thought he was attractive or whatever the case may be, and she was like, I don't know how it went down, what it was said, but I know somebody who was in that circle and knew how it went down or whatever the case may be. And everybody knew that me and him was like, seeing each other or whatever, because we would, after church, we would be talking, whatever the case may be. And I mean, it's not like people didn't know, because I had told the pastor and everything, but it got so bad, y'all, that I ended up getting pregnant by the brother, right? I did. Out of wedlock. Singing and fornicating. Ended up getting pregnant. Yeah, y'all, it's a shame. It really is. That's why we got to stop doing stuff that causes us hurt. It's always a cause and effect to everything, that we go through. But because I was a sister, I got handled very, very, very harshly. You know, I didn't know I was pregnant, and I ended up leaving that house, because God, after I had lost my job, I had got fired from my job, and I had been praying, asking God to deliver me from my job, because it was consuming my life. I wasn't able to be there with my kids majority of the time, so everything just happened all at once. Mind you, I'm a praying woman, so one day I was praying and the Lord told me, He told me I could move, even though I didn't have a job, and I had 5 kids at the time. Didn't know I was pregnant. And the Lord told me I could move, and I was just like, Lord, are you sure? I don't have a job. How I'm gonna support my children, and their dads wasn't in their life, or whatever. And I wasn't getting child support or anything like that, from anyone. So I ended up having the Lord told me, whatever situation arises in your life, it's according to how you react to it, how your outcome is gonna be. Either you're going to trust me and come out victoriously, or you're going to lean to your own understanding and fail, and great will be your fall. That's what the Lord told me right before I moved, out of the house, and just stepped out on faith. And I stepped out on faith. I didn't know I was pregnant. My pastor and his wife had stripped me and his brother from each other, told him that his wife was this other sister. You know what I'm saying? And that she would make him a good wife or whatever. And told him that if he didn't, if he couldn't hear him telling him that now, then he can't hear him over the pulpit when he preaching. So, you know, brother, you need to break that off from with my sister, basically, is what he told him. And this sister is a better fit for you. This is how that went, y'all. Truth. This is the truth. Mind you, I'm pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant at the time. This was the only guy I was been with. I had been celibate for 8 months. And by this time it was longer than that. But by that time it was longer than that. Before me and him was intimate or whatever. And that happened, y'all. That happened. They tore us apart. Told him that that other sister would make him a good wife or whatever. He should consider her instead of me. I'm knowing all this going down. I go to my brother. I'm like, bro, what's up? I mean, you was fine with it at first, whatever. But he was like, yeah, well, y'all don't need to be dealing with each other, because the Lord got somebody else for him and this, and that. And I was just like, wow. You didn't tell me that before, when I first came to you, about it, And mind you, y'all, I would go to my brother about everything, you know what I'm saying? And see, this is the lesson that I had to learn. This is the lesson that God wanted me to learn. I went to my brother about everything, him and his wife. I went to them about everything that before I'd even go to God, I go to them. And I had them on a pedestal. I did. Had them on a pedestal in my life. And he was in the place of God in my life. Because I went to him about everything. So God had to deal with me on a level. And when I came back to God in 2010, I made a vow to God that I would never leave him again. I would never backslide again. And that if I did, to kill me first. I don't want to live for the devil, is what I told God. And I'll tell y'all about my transition back to church at a later time. But again, this is my story of church hurt and my testimony, of how the Lord got me through it. And I still go to that church right now. Still go to the church. The brother ended up marrying that sister. I stayed. I was still pregnant, and they rushed the marriage before I had the baby. I came out. When I found out I was pregnant, I told my mom, and it was such an uproar at the church, you know what I'm saying, about the situation, because I was told that either I tell the church what I did and shame myself, or I would sit down from singing and then start showing that I was pregnant. And, and then from that, people see my shame or whatever the case may be. So I took the low road, and I humbled myself under the mighty hand of God, and I owned what I did. I owned the fact that I was intimate with a brother in the church. I owned the fact that, that I wasn't supposed to do that. And I owned the fact that I was pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And I let the church know that. I stood up before the whole church and told them, and that's what I did. From that, I thought I was going to be able, I had repented to everybody. I repented to God. I repented, and I thought that was going to give me the opportunity to stay singing, but I got sat down anyway. So I did all that. I won't say for nothing, but it was humbling, Now the brother, on the other hand, he got a wife out of the deal. He ended up marrying a sister before I even had the baby, And mind you, y'all, I had just walked away from this 2-story house that the brother that I was engaged to, 2 years, but we wasn't together no more, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. It was told to my baby's father that the baby probably is the other guy baby. So he wasn't even claiming my child. He didn't even tell them that he had been intimate with me, So they was like, they was thinking that my baby wasn't his, and that I was just, saying that it was his child to keep him from being with the other sister. So the church is in an uproar at this point, y'all. The church wanted to have a meeting about the situation, but a meeting never occurred, because it was a whole bunch of confusion. People left the church, not because not because of me, but because of how things were handled. But it's always been said that people left because of something that I said. No, it wasn't because of something I said. It was because of the way I was being done. I was constantly being rebuked over the pulpit, you know, constantly. But the brother was able to just sit there because he finally submitted and decided to be with the sister. But the whole time he was calling me still, saying he didn't understand, like, what's wrong with you? You single, you not married, I'm single, like, what's wrong with you? Like, why me and you can't, I don't even know if I want this sister that he trying, they saying is my wife. This is what he telling me in the background, and he would tell me what my brother was telling him, you know, about how, if you can't hear me right now, you need to leave my sister alone, all this kind of stuff, because his wife wanted him to be with that sister because of who she is. She, I don't know, but anyway, that's what happened. And the sister that had just got there, she seen it all unfold. you know and my cousin was going to the church that was best friends with the girl that they said was his wife. So she is like, she came to me and was like, cousin, is you and this brother still dating? And I was like, yeah, we still seeing each other. Even she knew we were seeing each other. So I know the sister knew they was best friends. But, you know, she was like, are y'all still seeing each other? And I was like, yeah, we still seeing each other. This was before everything hit the fan. And she was like, well, I'm gonna tell you, uh the pastor wife is trying to, is telling that her that, she gonna put, that's her husband, and that they gonna put, she let me know. I had a person on the inside in that circle because her best friend was telling her what was going on, and then I had, people on my, that sister that the Lord had brought to the church right before, you know uh everything had went down. Granted, y'all, I admit that some things we bring on ourselves, because when we move before God, you know what I'm saying? When we move before God, you know, that's when we mess up, you know. And I can admit that I moved before God. I shouldn't even put myself in that position. But it happened. And I ended up getting a baby out of it, you know. And they got married before, and again, I was homeless at the time. I was homeless, you know, living here and there. But the sister that I just met, this is the reason why the Lord put her in my life. She the only person that, it was another sister that had invited me to come to her house, but she had a dude, and their schedules, mind you, I didn't have a job, and their schedules was different. She would go to work in the morning time. He would be working overnight and be there with me while the kids gone to school. I was like, no, thank you, sister, but no, thank you. You know, I don't even want you that on your brain about me being at the house with your man. You know what I'm saying? So I immediately, one day, I was there at her house one day. And when I seen that arrangement and how it was, I was like, no, I can't live here. You know, my kids were separated. Two of my kids was with my sister and my brother and his fiance. And then the rest of my children were with me. And we went, to my mom's house. My mom had a 1 bedroom, you know, and we tried to make it work. But that sister, she had just moved out of her apartment and told me that if I helped her find a house in the area where my mama lived at, close by there, that she would let me and my kids move in there before she moved in. And y'all, I promise you, because I stayed humble throughout this whole ordeal. I went house shopping, house looking, hunting, I mean, for my sister. And y'all, I saw somebody, I passed by this house. I'm talking about the first day I started looking. I saw someone put the sign outside to say the house was for rent. And the Lord said, that's her house. And I was like, that's it? That's her house. And I called her immediately. Sis, I found your house. I called her. She gave her the information off the sign, and she got that house just like that. We were moving in within 2 days. Me and my kids had went like a week or so, a week or two, you know, or maybe even 3 weeks, trying to live with my mom and things of that nature. It just didn't work in a one bedroom. I mean, it just didn't work. So it was a blessing that sister was gracious enough to help us. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that that's the very reason why the Lord allowed, because the Lord is omnipresent. He knows everything. He's afar off. He see things afar off. He know the mistakes that we gonna make. He know if we gonna get through it. And mind you, the Lord told me whatever situation arises in your life, it's according to how you react to it, how your outcome gonna be. Either you gonna trust me and you gonna come out victoriously, or you gonna lean to your own understanding and you gonna fail. And great will be your fall, is what the Lord told me in my time of prayer. You know, I didn't know this situation. I didn't know I was pregnant. I didn't know that, none of this was going to transpire, but God knew. God knew. That's why we got to wait on God, y'all. That's why we got to wait and just wait on God, you know. But y'all, they got married. I was staying at that sister house. I told that sister that they was going to get married because the Lord had already told me. She didn't believe it. She was like, man, no, the Lord ain't going to allow that. The Lord, because that's not right. That's not right. The Lord ain't going to allow that. He ain't going to bless no mess. That's this. She was like, that's confusion. That's confusion. And it was a big confusion. And the Lord is not the author of that. That's how you know the enemy was in that all a way around, But somehow it got pinned on me. Everything was pinned on me, you know. Everything got pinned on me. That brother got his wife. They got married, you know. But I stayed away from the church a little bit, at least until I had the baby, But I would go, a few times, I went a few times, just to, because that was a very hurtful. I was devastated, y'all. The Lord told me they were gonna get married. I remember hearing them counseling them, telling them that, yeah, she was told, she was told to leave you alone. And she kept on dealing with you. He kept dealing with me too. It take two. So, I mean, come on now. But anyway, she was told, and I heard this without even seeing it, and I was telling my sister, I was like, they gonna get married. She was like, no, they not. I said, yes, they is. The Lord has told me this. So while I'm going through my grieving process, while I'm going through everything, the Lord told me victory was mine to praise him in advance, praise him in advance. And I did that. I started praising the Lord in the midst of my storm, y'all. I felt like I was going to die. I felt betrayed by my brother and my sister. This is my biological brother. We got the same mama and daddy. My family was livid over the situation. And even to this day, it has caused a rift between our family because my brother allowed his wife to cause that rift, cause that situation to occur. Instead of them just letting it play out. If it was meant for him to be with her, they should have just let it play out, He would have found that was his wife. You already let him know. So just let the chips fall where they may, but they didn't do that. They forced the issue. And that's how I knew that wasn't God, because it was a forced issue. And they hurried the marriage up. He had they got married before we even, before I even had the baby. It was a rush marriage, or whatever the case may be, and all along the brother feeling like my child was not his because they was, all the things that he was being told about me, all of us have a past. Ain't none of us no better than the other. And that's not all of the story. I just didn't want this video to be that long. And I'm coming up on an hour of talking to you guys. But I'm going to come back with a part 2 of this story, And I'm gonna end this right now, y'all. So come back and listen, please. Because I'm telling you, it was a twist, a turn. I'm telling you, that happened. So please come back to my channel, because I promise you, it'll bless your soul. It'll bless you. This church hurt, it's real, y'all. But only through God you can overcome it. Only through God. You got to turn your face to the wall. That's what I did. I did like Jeremiah. I turned my face to the wall. Like Hezekiah, I meant. I turned my face to the wall, and I just began to pray my way through. I got in my word, during the whole time, from 1 month to 2 months, 3 months, the whole time I'm pregnant, I'm praying. I'm turning my face to the wall. The devil was trying to make me do things, extreme things that wasn't even me. You know what I'm saying? Things that I would never do because it wasn't even in my character. I had to rebuke the devil so much. I had to tell that fool he was a liar. I had to tell that fool that, no, that's not me. I'm not going to do that. Trying to tell me to go to the church, disrupt the church. And, on their wedding day, I wasn't invited to the wedding, of course. Everybody at the church was invited but me. That's that was to be expected. But on my baby shower, I invited her to my baby shower still, even though I wasn't invited to her wedding. And she ended up coming. And everybody was mad because I invited her. But see, when you got the love of God in your heart, you can't hold no grudge. You can't be angry. I was hurt, yeah. But I still had the love. I still had to show love, But I was hurt. I really was hurt. And I had to stay away from there for a while, at least a year. And let the Lord help my heart, And the whole time I was away, I'm praying that the Lord, please don't allow no bitterness, no strife, no anger, Please, no unforgiveness. That was my prayer throughout the whole time I was away while I was pregnant. That's what I was praying. I didn't want to hold no resentment, no anger, no bitterness. You know what I'm saying? But, I tell you, it was a mess, y'all. But God saw me through. That sister let me live with her. She was praying with me. She was fasting with me. Man, I'm telling you, God knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew exactly who to put in my life at the right time, because he know I was headed for shipwreck. But see, the Lord always make a way of escape for you. He always is there to help you, But y'all, I'm going to pause this because it's almost time for me to go to work. But I'll be back. I'll be back to share the rest of this story, okay? God bless you guys. And I look forward to sharing the rest of my story with you, okay? That's not the end of it. I just have to go to work, But I'll be back with you guys here shortly, okay? God bless. Peace.